Is this thing on? Oh, hold on, let me just... Okay, there we go. So you guys know what a title is, right? I mean, of course you do. That's something that should be prioritized when naming anything, really. Especially when it comes to media in particular. But what makes a good one, actually? Well, obviously it's gonna be something that's worth remembering, right? Because not only does it help mark the identity of a medium that's portraying, but it also needs to have a name that sounds both snappy and well inputted into everything that is relegated to the show's appearance. Such as an anime, for example. And since I primarily talk about anime, there is definitely a plethora of worthy name titles, even if they're tied to something that's either forgotten or just not worth investing your time in at all. But lately, there is something that has gone amiss throughout the past couple of years, and that something has been stirring so many bits of controversy as of late, and that of course is relegated to something like this. I'm a high school boy and a successful light novel author, but I'm being strangled by a female classmate who is a voice actress and is younger than me. Oh wow, that sure seems inappropriately long for a title. My brother in Christ. That is a bloody sentence! If you've been living underneath a rock as an anime fan for the past couple of years, you may have noticed that there have been a certain boom of a medium known as light novels throughout the anime industry and beyond. Like, there are so many anime out nowadays that from there, it gets harder to tell if a certain show has been adapted straight from a light novel. And somehow, it's become a major thing for many anime studios to take part in when it comes to adapting source material on like manga. I mean, okay, I don't think I need to elaborate any further on this because most other YouTubers have done that already, so case in point, light novels are a big thing now and they are here to stay. And I'm totally fine with that. What I am not fine with, actually, is that some of the titles from light novels are... Okay, just let me fill out some examples. World End. What do you do at the end of the world? Are you busy? Will you save us? I'm a behemoth, an S-ranked monster, but mistaken for a cat. I live as an elf girl's pet. Is it wrong to try to pick up girls in a dungeon? Full clearing another world under a goddess with 0 believers. So I'm a spider. So what? Reborn as a vending machine, I now wander the dungeon. What the fuck? Min-maxing my TRPG build in another world with my absurd skill. World housekeeping maid from another world. Making arrangements feel like princess with the world with my I swear to God, if I read another title that says another world, it is going to make my head spin. Oh shit, I'm in another world. Admittedly, it has gotten quite annoying to see something that sounds a lot less like an actual title, and more of a fixable method to use to tell your grandkids about the many adventures that have gone throughout your lifetime. With the one exception being is that they never even existed to begin with. Now, this isn't going to be a video where I'll be discrediting that sort of topic, cause let's face it, that has already been clowned to death in the anime community and it will be continued to make fun of to this day, regardless of what sort of opinion you made towards it. And besides, not all light novels are like this, cause there are some that does have actual titles in them, though that's mostly cause they mainly come from series that are, well, legitimately good. However, what I'm going to do is quite different from the debates about said topic, and my question to that is, why? Why does every light novel title need to sound like a sentence? Why is it easy to tell that it's based off on one by saying that time I got verb into a place name where I'm an unviable creature or something? What's the deal with light novel titles? Alright, I said it. I'm done. I don't have to keep making this anymore. See you next time! Okay, but for real though, we're going to be addressing this issue right about now. But before we try to answer that, allow me to provide a quick history lesson for all you peasantry begoers. So let's dive in, shall we? 'Tis was the dawn of 2004, where a man known as Yusuke Omizaki created the site that shall be known as Shosetsuka ni Naro, or let's become a novelist for those who only tolerate the English tongue. A website where you can create novels for free without needing to worry about said limitations to share with the world. Whereas those who want to read said novels but can barely afford basic needs for human resources such as purchasing books, can simply go on said site and just read whatever they want for free. If that description sounds familiar to you, well, it's not hard to see why. Think YouTube, but instead of simply making videos, you're creating a narrative that in which, depending on the quality of its story beats and popularity rankings, could have the potential to stand out as something that many people would aspire to do so. And thus began the decade of the isekai boom, where many stories that have pledged from this website have now been transitioned to oversaturated marketing tools in order to gain financial stability for the conglomerative executive corporations that seek out production committees in order to continue making cash-grabbing series that may or may not have copied ideas from other series, as the isekai genre in general has been copy-pasting each other to hell and back. The main point is that whether you've heard of a light novel title before, it's very likely that it comes from this site. Hell, some of the biggest anime series that have come out in the past decade have started their place there. And from here, it's beginning to make sense as to why both web and light novels in general are becoming more and more significant over time in terms of relevancy. And it's also one of the main reasons why titles like this exist to begin with. You see, one of the key factors as to why so many light novel titles sound utterly ridiculous at first glance, well, it's because they're clickbait. Like, okay, just let me ask you something like this. If you're in the mood for a story to turn your brain off to, no, not all the way off that you would be unwilling to read a bunch of paragraphs, well, you've come to the right place. But oh no, there's no pictures that gravitate any of your attention towards them, so the only method is to look at what's popular, which would automatically compel you to read a title that goes something with the lines of, "A frontier pharmacist becomes an S-ranked adventurer in the capital. I was cheated on by my power harassment fiance, cut off and left the village. Unparalleled status element skills trained in the Abyss Forest and the world's best healing arts will make it a success. Even if I'm tired of crying now, I won't go back." Would you actually check to see if it's accurate or not? Well, don't look at me, I surely would. Cause pretty much like YouTube or any other social media platform, the main source of how a popular web novel becomes is through the amount of clicks that are on it, or in this case, rankings that are present in a time of posting. I mean, if you really think about it, they pretty much share many similar features with what it's like to become an aspiring media influencer. Oh god, did I just seriously wrote that line? Jesus. It really goes to show why so many authors tend to make their titles as egregious as it can be, because they're essentially used as a marketing tool to plead for people who go on the site to read something for free. Yet what boggles my mind the most is that people who go there would read this sort of title and be all like, yeah, I get what that means. Like, no, you don't. You just read something that summarizes the entire plotline to begin with. Like, what is the point of all of this?
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
So again, this leads back to the most important question. Why is it that so many light novels nowadays tend to have titles that are about the size of a fin whale? Aside from the fact that they're used as easy clickbait or some random trend that authors tend to garner towards, the main reason is that it's actually a decent strategy to use.
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on.
Alright, just hear me out for a second. As much as I want to clown on the irredeemably stupid title names that people have legit come up with, there are some then in which some cases genuinely made me laugh out loud at times. Not to mention that because of the fact that said titles are essentially just discount synopsis to begin with, I would be lying if I said I wouldn't want to read into any of these kinds of light novels, regardless of how much I want to get into that type of story I'm currently in. So to prove my point, here are some examples. Show me an sample. I was abducted by an elite all-girls school as a sample commoner. Okay, so for what I can gather from that alone is that it's just some random-ass guy that gets dragged into an all-girls school for seemingly no reason whatsoever. Though, judging from the cover, something tells me there's a whole lot more going on than simply getting transferred. Ah, shit. I saved too many girls and caused the apocalypse. Bro, imagine having a harem of overpowered ladies that just so happen to cause the apocalypse simply because their infighting over you led to natural disasters and you end up getting parole as a common denominator above it all. Not gonna lie, I just pretend that I'm overzealous in that regard. My mental choices are completely interfering with my school romantic comedy. Buddy, let me just say that your mental choices are always going to interfere, no matter where you go in life.
I have crippling depression.
I, a demon lord, took a slave elf as my wife. But how do I love her? Alright, my mind barely even processes to how that even applies as an appropriate synopsis, but then again, this ain't the first time anime took a delve into slavery, so who am I to judge? Okay, I hope to god someone's gonna laugh at this one. Because my toilet turned into a dungeon, taking care of my business has become too difficult. Like, the logic of that is just so ridiculous that it just zips back to being funny in general. Like, just what the fuck? So yeah, as it turns out, these sorts of titles are here to stay after all. But please don't let that dissuade you from the fact that it's all has to offer. Like I said in the beginning, there are many light novels that do have actual sounding titles in our forefront, and most of them are definitely worth checking out if you haven't already. I'd also say read the source material too, because that's what they started out as, but then I realized I never actually read one to begin with, and none of the people I knew do either, so here's a list of anime you should check out from them. All in all, that's pretty much everything I have to say. If you like this video, well, good on you, that means more clout for me. But seriously though, thanks for sticking with me until the end, and so, I bid you all farewell, and I hope to see you next time.